Hello, class. I wanted to go over the overview of the third assignment for week 5. It is quite a hefty assignment. It'll be the last main assignment for the quarter. Of course, we'll have one more, but it'll be quite different. The final portfolio is quite different, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But for now, let us go over the main assignment 3. And of course, the main instructions are always in mini portfolio, but remember, that's not where you put the first draft of it. But anyways, let's go and click on this assignment here and go over it in detail. So, goals. Using everything you have learned about rhetorical strategies, writing, and revision, you will now choose a technology that interests you and write an argumentative research paper that includes a thesis statement about your text, and use support from the sources in your annotated bibliography to support your thesis. This assignment will require you to think more specifically about which aspects of technology you'll be focusing on for your final research paper. After understanding that technology is all around us and comes in many forms, not just digital technology such as computers, smartphones, etc., you will choose a technology that interests you and come up with a question to answer for your research paper. You will need to narrow your topic like a fine point laser and think about what you can bring to the conversation related to your interests in a particular technology. Remember the writing exercises, group activities, and readings, and for us, group activities is discussions and readings that influenced you thus far. This assignment asks you to examine the academic conversation that surrounds the specific area of your chosen technology that you'll be writing about by looking at a potential source for your final paper, or potential sources. So let me stop right there before I go any further to explain this part. So what I want you to do is find a technology that interests you. And by technology, as was mentioned here, I don't just mean smartphones, social media, computers, etc., right? That's one form of technology, but there's many forms of technology. A chair can be a technology, a lamp, a pencil, a rock with a stick attached to it, okay? There are many forms of technology. The idea is to pick something that interests you, that you care about, that you're passionate about, that you want to know more about, that you want to write about, okay? Because trust me, you never want to research something that you just have no interest in. So, here's what you need to do. Once you find a technology, you will then come up with an argument about that technology. Say, for instance, if we go and searched here and we looked for electric cars, right? Electric cars versus combustion engines or gas-powered cars, however you want to put it, right? And maybe you have the implication that, hey, I think electric cars are the way to go. I'm not too sure. I haven't done the research, of course, but I think that's my hypothesis almost, right? And I think that's really what I want to do. I'm really interested in cars. So cars is going to be my main subject, but of course, that's not enough. I need to narrow it down further, and I'm going down to electric cars versus combustion cars. And once you do that, once you find out what you want to do, this is the first thing you're going to do. You Google your subject. You just Google it, find out more about it, right? So here we have, and I just am searching this, randomly. This is the first time I'm doing this, but here we have something that looks interesting. The death of an internal combustion engine. Okay, well, maybe I can use this as a source for my research paper once I read it, right? And this might be a good source to, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Let us close some of that. Maybe I could use this source as a way to support my argument that, you know what, I think electric cars are better than gas-powered cars, and we really need to start giving more incentives for people to start, buying more electric cars. And I think that's going to be my argument. And that is an argument, right? Because the other side can be, no, I don't think electric cars are the way to go. I think gas powers or combustion engines are needed as of now. There's no reason to switch over just yet because we don't have the infrastructure for it. That's a good point, right? So that's the topic there. There could be many other topics. I've done. My past students have done technology of a football helmet, and they argued that the football helmet isn't enough protection for football players. I have arguments about self-driving cars, and maybe it's not a good thing to have a self-driving car. Arguments about smartphones, so that's a digital technology. Arguments from the medical fields, such as automatic surgeons, not automatic surgeons, I guess robot surgeons, right? there's just so many things. It just depends on what your interests are, right? I've had arguments about makeup and why people should and shouldn't wear makeup. I've had arguments about drugs like antidepressants or ADHD medication, about why they should or shouldn't take those. Honestly, like I said, it doesn't matter which side you fall on, as long as, of course, you're rhetorical. So that is what I'm asking you to do. Find whatever argument or whatever topic that you care that has to do with technology. That's the only really caveat here. And go ahead and try to make an argument out of it. But, however, I have a couple of steps before you just start writing as a way to help you develop a research paper. And this is really all we're going to do this week. Discussions are cut down severely. The only discussion you're going to have is over the readings this week, which is chapter 7 and 10, I believe. And chapter 7 is just research. So that's why I had you read this week. And that's it. There's no real discussions like we had in the past, because I want you to focus solely on creating this research paper this week. So before you could even start writing anything yet, you have to do an annotated bibliography. So, however, before you begin writing a research paper, you must understand your sources. To help you comprehend and synthesize your sources, you will create entries in an annotated bibliography to prepare for the writing of the research paper. First, you'll come up with a research question. This research question will guide you in finding sources. Once you're ready to begin, each entry will include an annotation of approximately 150 to 175 words. This is around 1/2 to 3/4 of a page in length and does not include the citation itself. The entry should include a brief summary of the main points of the source, an analysis of the effectiveness of the source, and how you believe you might use the source in the paper. This is due Tuesday, August 2nd before midnight. This is the very first thing that'll be due this week. So, to help you do this, I have made it part of a discussion. So if you go to, of course, our course modules, you go down to week 5, and you'll see main assignment, week 5, you'll see main assignment 3 here, right? With all the different places you're going to have the areas here. So the first thing you're going to do before anything else, after you read this, after you look at this video, whatever, you will then go over here to research question for project 3, which is under discussions, right? Other than the discussion for chapter 710, this is the only other discussion. And it's not really a discussion. I just wanted to include here so that people can see what everyone else is doing to kind of help them out. And really all you're doing is just developing a research question, right? So once you're here, because this is the first step, you will go over here as the instructions say here, and go over to other, and you're going to click on developing a research question. So here's developing a research question. All I want you to do is answer these 5 questions. There's more, but you don't need to answer the last 3. You just need to answer the first 5. And here what you're doing is finding out what you're going to research and what research question you're going to develop. So by the time you get to question 5, you should have a research question. So follow this. First, you just find a general topic. And then once you have a topic, what are some questions you want to know about your topic, right? And then after you grabbed a couple questions, pick a central question. Honestly though, first, before you do that, when you grab a general topic, you know what you should do? You Google it. So say I'm like interested in books versus tablets. And this doesn't always have to be book versus something, but for this sake, right? And here I have a couple of things, and then here are some disadvantages, and I'm just Googling this thing, right? I have no idea of what it is about. I'm just Googling my technology, and that's what you're kind of doing here. You're trying to figure out what you want to do. So once you're done with that, you raise some questions. So maybe one of your questions is, are physical books worth keeping anymore? Should we just move everything to a digital storefront or digital archive, right? And maybe that's a central question I come up with. And what do you think after that? The fourth question is, what do you think is the best answer to your central question from your initial research so far? And by initial research, I literally mean Google stuff, okay? No big research just yet. What have you included thus far? What is your main point about the topic? Meaning, what is your argument about it? So maybe I start to argue that, you know what? I think tablets are the way to go. I don't think we should need to waste trees on books. And this is why I believe so far based on my initial research. After that, I come up with a research question. And my research question would be something along the lines of physical books have been with us for a very long time. However, because of the new digital innovations, do we really need to keep physical media anymore, or physical books in this case? Should we just switch everything to all tablet or all digital archives or all digital media? And that would be my research question. And I try to focus it and clear it up and make it more complex as possible. By complex, I mean arguable, right? And that would be it. And once you're done with these 5 questions, you just post them onto here and you're done. There's no need to respond in this discussion. This is all just to help you figure out what you're going to want to do for your argument, right? So once you're done with that, or your research paper, once you're done with that, you will then go back to the main modules here, and then you will start to make an annotated bibliography, because that is the first thing that'll be due. Like I said here, after you know your research question, you will then start to search. This, unlike other discussions, is due a lot quicker because I want you to do this one step at a time. Once you did this, you will then go to the next. So this process, the very first thing is, of course, your research question, a little worksheet there. After that, you will then do the annotated bibliography. And I have an example of what an annotated bibliography looks like. And this is one of my own examples because I don't want to use the students. You can go ahead and look at this, and this is exactly what I want from you. So your name here, this is from when I was in grad school or something. And here's the question. This is my research question right here. Are we giving up our privacy in exchange for digital services like Facebook? And I did it using that worksheet, right? And then here I have the citation as if it would be in a works cited page in alphabetical order. But after that source, after that cited source, I then have a summary about what this source is about and why I'm going to use it. And I do this for every single source I'm looking for. And you need to find 5 sources, 2 of which are journal articles. And I will go over journal articles in a different video because I don't want this video is going to be long as it is, and I don't want to make it any longer. But know that you'll have 5. This one has 8, but you'll have 5 sources at least. If you have more, perfectly fine. But I want at least 5. 3 of which are popular sources. By that I mean something you can find online, like one of these here, right? These are all popular sources that you may use by all means. But 2 will be journal articles. And again, I will tell you what journal articles are in one of my lessons. Anyways, once you're done with the annotated bibliography, you will turn this in. This is after your research question little assignment there. This will be the next thing that is due. And this will be due Thursday of this week. And you'll see here, oops, I'm in the wrong week, sorry about that. So you'll see here that the first thing that's due, of course, is the research question almost right away into the week. After that, what will be due is, of course, the annotated bibliography, August 2nd. After that, what you want to do now is a research paper outline. So once you have, of course, your question, once you look for all 5 of your sources because of that question, you will then make an outline. And this is actually really easy. I just have you make an outline. That's it. And I have already a template you can use to make that outline. All I want you to do is make an outline to help you create and compose this research paper, because for many of you, this might be the first time to do one, right? As such, I want you to have a guide almost, and a great way to do that is to make a research paper outline. As such, you will go over here and then along with the instructions given here about an outline, research paper outline, click on this PDF here. Read this, and I don't want to go through it right now because, again, this will make the video really too long, and it's long enough as it is. But anyways, you will go through this outline, and this is just showing you some ways to outline your paper. The introduction, the body, the conclusion, right? And here's some additional tips. Afterwards, you have a sheet here, which is a template that you will fill out, and then once that's done, once you've filled out this template, and of course, you don't have to use this one. I just gave you, if you have one that you like to use, that's fine. I don't care. This is just to help you out. All I want to see is that you have a template, that you have an outline, that you have a plan to compose this paper over this week. And once this is done, you just upload your outline to me, and I just check it off. That's all. That's all this part is here. So once that's done, once you have an outline, then you begin composing your paper, right? Then you begin composing your paper for your rough draft that is due on Sunday of this week. So that's how it's going to go. Of course, your main mini portfolio won't be due until week 6, but everything else will be due this week. And again, it's in steps. And that's what you want to figure out and to how to time yourself, because I just want you to focus on the research paper. All of this, all my lessons, everything else, it's all for the research paper. The only other thing that isn't is the reading the academic writer. Other than that, everything is in service of this research paper, and it should be fine as long as you go in steps and do this every day, okay? That's why I have checkpoints here. First thing August 2nd, then the next thing is August 3rd, and then the next thing is August 5th, right? Well, I'm sorry. The first thing is the 31st, then August 2nd, then the 3rd, then the 5th, right? After that, you'll give in the week to then revise your paper and then write it for the 12th. And it seems like a lot, but it's not. It's just broken up into several pieces. And that's because I don't want you to be overwhelmed, and this is the best way to do it online. All right, let's continue back with the main description here. Once that's all done, once you, of course, done your research question, you've done your annotated bibliography, and you've done your outline, you will then, of course, do a rough draft of this assignment. So, once you've understood your sources, your job is to formulate these answers into a coherent claim or thesis that can be arguable. And that's the key word. I want this to be an argument. I do not want a report. Do not inform me of what your subject is about. Do not go over here and tell me, oh, these are what tablets are. They're great. They could be better. I don't know if books should go away. No, that's not what I want. I want an argument of tablets are better than books, or physical books are better than tablets. Whatever side, right? I want you to make an argument. You must make your voice in the academic discussion clear to your readers. This paper must be between 5 and 6 pages long, not including the works cited page. You must include a works cited page that contains your primary and secondary text. You will need a minimum of 5 sources, 2 of which must be peer-reviewed, and again, I will go over that later. You may choose from a variety of other sources for the remaining required sources, or you may choose to use all peer-reviewed sources. Although, again, I wouldn't do this. I would just use 2. They're pretty heavy, and you'll find that out later. But you can use more than sources than just 5, but I just want at least 5 minimum, 2 of which are peer-reviewed. All sources that are not peer-reviewed are subject to my approval before the inclusion of this assignment. That's what the annotated bibliography is for. The rough draft is due Sunday, August 5th for peer review. And of course, the assignment required peer reviews that will be due Wednesday, August 8th, just like before, just like all the other ones. Once that's all done, once you get your peer reviews back from your peers, you will then create a mini portfolio just like you have with all the other projects. I don't think I need to go through that. Remember, it just requires a cover letter, comments made by your peers, a rough draft, which you copy and paste over. You do include your annotated bibliography, but you already have that. You already composed it. You just copy and paste it right over. And then, of course, the revised draft, which I give you my comments. Some things to consider. Look back at your annotated bibliography. It's why I'm having you do this. If you feel stuck, and look at your question and what you can bring to the conversation. Your outline will also help you immensely to keep it on task. When writing the paper's length, I highly suggest you make a game plan before you begin. Look at your thesis statement, look at your source you're using, and make an outline, which I'm already having you do, so that should be taken care of. Remember, you have a lot of resources available to you, the Writing Center, the library, and more. And remember, I'm a great resource for you. I will be happy to answer any questions or offer advice if you need it. Send me an email if you're ever stuck. You may find that sources discussing the general area rather than the specific topic of your research can be useful in providing background for your readers or supporting your own thesis. For example, a source on smartphones rather than iPhones, which is why you may be looking at what you may be looking at specifically. And I will give you more details, an example of this in one of my lessons. When searching for topics, the works cited page of the articles you find useful are great places to find other articles. Look at what other people are using to talk about your topic. Again, I'll show you an example of this in my lesson. Look for a variety of sources, articles, book, TED Talks, reviews, and such. You're required to have at least 2 peer reviews, but other sources are up to you. And using YouTube videos, which you already know how to do, is a great way of using a source. Consult each other on topics. You may be all working on similar topics, so a source that's good for one of you might be good for all of you. And of course, again, ask me. I am here as a resource for you guys to research your topic. If you're having trouble finding sources, I am a pro at that. Whatever your topic is, we can find sources together, okay? So that is the main project. It is pretty comprehensive throughout the whole week, and that's why we're just focusing on the research paper this week, okay? There are several checkpoints. Look at the assignments carefully and when they're due. All right, there are due dates and there are hard due dates, okay? Because I want to make sure you are following along throughout the week and are not lost in any part. Unlike other weeks where everything is due at the end, that wouldn't work this week. This week needs to be done throughout the week. But like I said, the only other thing that's due other than the research paper is just the readings, okay? As such, there's no other discussions, just focusing on the research paper. Make sure you also upload your assignments to the correct spot, all right? This assignment, you will actually not upload anything in the mini portfolio. That will be next week, which I'll also provide another link there. But everything else has something due. Again, at the start of the week, July 31st, that'll be a Tuesday, you have this due, which is just the research question. Then you have the research paper and to the bibliography. Then, of course, the outline, and then the rough draft, all right? Please let me know if you have any questions over this or if you have any concerns. Again, this is, I know this may seem a little overwhelming, but that's why I broke it up into pieces, and it should work out fine as long as you follow each of these steps given here, okay? All right, that'll do for now. This is long enough. Please let me know if you have any questions as always. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.